Alright, hey guys, my name is Rob Alter, and today I will talk to you about the history of archery. I'm sure most of you have seen the movie Hunger Games, where the main character Katniss uses a longbow, or first bow known to man. The bow is made of stick and a string, and when I say stick, I'm talking about a piece of wood or flexible bone. Usually they use ash wood or bamboo. They use the string, which would be pieces of like a cactus, a plant. They could pull the strings off of that, or they'd use the intestines of an animal. The earliest known bow is known to be found in China 71,000 years ago, and they used it for hunting and for times of war. In China, everybody knows everything that comes from China. Were smarter than everybody else, and they were bigger, so they had lots more wars, and that's when they used them. So in the 100 Years' War, the English used it. Let's see, and other people who used it in battle were the Poiters in 1356. They were responsible for the deaths of 2,000 French mountain knights. In 1346, in the Battle of Crécy, English archers devastated the French, who lost 11 princes and 1,200 knights and 300,000 common soldiers. That archery it's a thing of the past, but with today's technology, it has grown to be almost like a science, basically. A few keywords you probably should know before I start getting into depth is FPS, which is feet per second, and that's how fast a bow can go. To give you an example, the bow that Katniss used in her movie was a longbow. That bow at 50 pounds can go 150 feet per second. Today's bows at 70 pounds, a bow can go 330 feet per second. The only difference is with Katniss' bow, she doesn't have something called let off, which is she comes to full draw, which is when you pull the bow all the way back. She holds all the weight she has. But with today's bows, if you have a 100-pound bow, and you have 80% let off, you're holding 20 pounds at full draw, so you can sit there and hold that bow for a lot longer time and be a lot more accurate. So with that being said, you couldn't really aim well back in the day, but with today's technology, you can put an arrow in a hole 160 yards away. I'd tell it's not ethical, but a lot of hunters today can shoot 100 yards at big game such as deer or elk and successfully kill them, which is almost like using a rifle. Another thing that he switched to is longbows. The strings were attached each end of the limbs. And the limbs are the pieces that come off the tops and the bottoms of the bow. Today's bows, they have cams, so it's kind of like a wheel, but it's bent a little bit, so that's how you get your let off. Today, they just created, literally a few months ago, it's called the no cam, so it's a wheel on both ends, and it is 95% let off, so you're holding about maybe 5% of the actual weight of the bow. The International, or IBO, organization, which is International Bow Hunter Organization, estimates that 18.2 million people are involved in archery every year. In the PowerPoint, I have this here is a picture of the bow. These would be considered the limbs, top and bottom. This would be where the strings attach to the bow, and that's the guy at full draw. Today's technology, also computers and the machines and equipment we have, we can make broadheads. These are called, these go on the ends of the arrow, and these right here are modern day broadheads. These are made out of titanium, aluminum, basically any metal you can make, or you can put in a machine and weld, I guess. These have like ultra sharp blades, so you can resharpen them every time you use them, and they do absolutely devastating damage to an animal. These right here are the most common back in the day. They're made of flint rock, and they're just jagged edges, or basically any rock or bone or wood that they can find to sharpen to put into the animal. That's actually what kills, or basically kills anything it hits, as long as it's an ethical shot. These were they weren't as ethical because they weren't sharp as today's technology. With today's technology, we have 3.5-inch broadheads, which leave an absolutely devastating hole in an animal or person, which is a lot more devastating than shooting a gun. and these old common broadheads, you could probably put a half-inch to an inch hole in something. So basically, with today's technology, they're a lot more successful in knocking down animals and killing them. Here's another, this is a modern, this right here, that's the loons again. These are cams, and that's a wheel. You can see at the bottom here, it's a little more ovalish looking, so when you come to stop, that's the actual piece that makes the string stop at a certain point. This is a crossbow. This is something that's far beyond today's technology. It has scopes, and when you pull the bow back, most of them actually come with a crank because it's so heavy. I know this one right here, this model was a 200-pound draw weight. That was about 500 feet per second. So that's literally, you blink your eyes and that tower's gone. This is a video, that video didn't work. Let's see. Alright, so in conclusion, today's advancements in technology have created lots of jobs. They have made people a lot more successful, and the sport of archery has grown a lot. Now that we have the IBO organization, they have the 18.2 million people a year. Overall, that's about several thousand different archery events, and it's about 5 or 6 that actually have people come from all over the world come to shoot. And I know the ones in Iowa, they shoot for a week straight. And I know the winner that gets a $30 million prize. And that's all because of today's technology, and these guys can shoot 200 yards with the bow and put it in the same spot every time. So, alright, I think that's it. Thank you very much.